It's not the official tune of the So as we said, every UX meeting with a air guitar session.
Going live in
Yeah.
3, 2. Oh, oops.
Oh, already live. So this is the Drupal usability meeting for November 8th, 2016. And air guitars aside, it's the three of us for today. Apparently, there's some possibly world-changing event happening somewhere that occupied people, but Drupals weren't changing as much, so why not talk about that?
Hi, Christina.
Hey, now
Hey.
it's
Yay. Cool. So we have 3 topics so far. Christina, do you have a topic suggestion also?
No, I just came just to see if I can help with anything.
Excellent.
Okay. So which one do we start with?
Let me start the media library one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's official. We have a media initiative.
Yes, we have a big old blog post from Dries. So that means it's official.
So I can share screen for that, I guess. Screen share, and let's do it on the right desktop. This one, infinite zoom. So Dries just announced a plan for media management in Drupal today. And this is basically announcing the media initiative for 8.3 and 8.4. And the plan, as outlined in the current plan, is that we would have an extendable media entity typing core based on the contributed media entity module, have default implementations for image and YouTube videos, while contributed modules will continue to provide the rest of the media types for now, until we figure out what else we need/want in core. And we want to have a media library in core that facilitates media reuse. So that would be the base functionality that we want, and then contributed modules would extend the media types, they would extend the media library, they would be able to extend this all kinds of ways. But we basically are learning from what we have so far. And we have a media library design, which this is a screenshot of, but we have an issue for the media library itself, which is 2796001. Create design for a media library. And Kibo Man has been working on this for quite a while, and we reviewed this last Tuesday and posted some extensive feedback. And most of that feedback got addressed, I think, based on what I've seen. There's a lot of discussion from T. O'Leary and MT Odor, which I did not yet read, unfortunately, because I just bumped in from a personal thing. But this is the updated design. So it now uses the blue Drupal button, tabs that are similar looking to Drupal tabs. And I guess the list is still very similar. There's sorting possibility, there's search possibility. And once you select an item, because this is a pop-up window, so you select an item to insert, and it's possible to insert the selected items to the page or modify the item. I think it was supposed to work for one item only, and this is broken, but it's a prototype. So there's a form to modify the item. If it would work, it would be nice. It doesn't work. let's get back to this one. And if you have something selected, then you can insert it to the page. And the insert selected is very similar to what we reviewed last week, but there are no form elements in here. So basically get all the details of the media that you selected. And for now, you can only select one, right? Because we don't support creating a gallery within a pop-up CK editor or something. So here you can only select one, and you can customize what's there. This was also a request that we put in last week, that this would be the place to customize it if there is a place. So basically last week discussed a lot about the metadata on the entity, that this is stored on the entity, and then it may need to be possible to customize that for this insert. So that's the pop-up itself. And then there's we discussed where do you even come from to get here. So this would be the image field, I guess. So an image field on an entity would have a select media and add new media button. This is also something we discussed last week, that you may want to immediately go into reusing media, or you may want to go to add new media right away from the image field. So let's go back to image field. The add new media button would open the add new media dialog, while the select media button would open selecting new media, which also has a button to add new media if you make up your mind. And then there's a source for WYSIWYG editing, which is this image embedding button would launch this pop-up also. So the suggestion here, I guess, is to have this always go to the library. And then the files tab would similarly reproduce the dialog just in the admin theme. And what else do we have here? So we have browse, add new item, the insert screen we've seen. And then Balazs worked on an alternate version that the button is again on the right, because then the space is better used. But I think so I worked with him on this yesterday, very late night. And what we struggled with most is all the placement of these thingies. So if you look at a Drupal screen, then do I have this? Then I want it on the screen. No. Meh. Anyway, the app is not working as I expected. So then this would be the first line, and then the subtabs would be second, and then the breadcrumb, and then the action button, and then the rest of the stuff. And the breadcrumb is quite out of place, right? Because it points to 2 levels up to this screen. And it's in the middle of everything else. And then your add new media would be under the tabs, even though you are not adding an image or a video or an audio per se, but you're adding media generally. So this is styled as tabs, but it works more like a filter on types of media. So if we want to keep them as tabs, then the logical hierarchy here may not work. So that's a key thing that I noticed. But that's it for a presentation, and then we can discuss. Let's discuss.
Yep. So I'm sorry I was late. I was actually writing a lengthy comment about this
Another
on the issue itself.
Okay.
And quickly, the gist of my comment was essentially that that it may be better. First of all, I didn't say this in the comment, but one thing I think is that this prototype should should flow from the from the screens. I didn't actually see those screens, the WYSIWYG and the Files tab and the image entity screens before, but those should flow. So the user should be able to go through from the WYSIWYG or from the other, from the file widget. But the gist of my comment was that the file widget flow right now is a 4-step flow. It's very simple. You click on the file widget, you find the thing, it goes directly to your computer, you add the image from your computer, and it's there, and then you add your alt text. That's it. It's 4 steps. When we put this in place, it becomes 9 steps. I click on except for in this case, if you do the add new media, it's not 9 steps because it doesn't bring you first to the media browser where you then have to click add new media again. But it's still 9 steps if you don't know that you have media, that you don't have this already in your media library, and you click select media, and then you have to click add media again, and then it brings you to this further dialog, and then you click add from my computer, and then it brings you to your computer. You're now 4 steps away from your computer, where formerly you were 1 step away from your computer. So the point that I'm making is the add new media, if we have an add new media button, should bring you directly to your computer. And if it's in the WYSIWYG or if it's in the file widget, and if we want people to add new media, to select media via their media library, they click the other button. But bringing them first to the media dialog is just, it adds lots of steps to the flow that are unnecessary. We can bring them back through the media dialog on the return journey. Right. So I went to my computer, I got the thing, and then now I have to add the metadata to it. Now I'm in the media dialog with the add the metadata stuff that we saw a second ago. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense to me, yes.
Yeah, I think for image fields, it definitely wouldn't make sense to add external media at all, right? Because they're supposed to store them, like at least image fields as we have them now, they are supposed to store media locally. So wouldn't make sense for that. But depends on the media field type, right? So if this is like a media reference or whatever, then you may want to post a Twitter something or a Facebook something or a YouTube something, which may not be on your computer. So I think it depends on the field type. So if we know the field type only supports local media, then this screen is a total waste because you have an option that doesn't make sense. And only this makes sense, so then you can just open a file upload dialog, right. Yeah.
So yeah, so my thought is that the button is specific. It's not generic. It's upload media. And it literally is only media from your computer. If you wanted to have select media in other ways, or perhaps you could put an embed media button there as well in the image and in the WYSIWYG. Other people have done that. Other contrib modules do that. That's a possibility. Or you could just have everything else flow through the media dialog. But I at least think that the upload media shouldn't be any less direct than it is right now with the image widget, where it literally brings me right to my computer.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's why we discussed last week that we would have to separate affordances on here to when you know you reuse something or when you know you don't reuse something. And the same, for some reason, did not materialize in the Cicada integration. But I don't know this. There was some fear that having icons that are clearly recognizable as a new media upload or a media reuse thing would be challenging.
Yeah, I think it should just be the cloud with the up arrow. It's universal upload.
Yeah.
One question I have, like this is all good feedback, and I think, especially if it's captured such, it's probably quick to turn it around, but how many more iterations of this do we want before we try and lock something down that we then throw over to developers? Because I got a couple people on the Octo team who could probably start running with this, but they're going to want a somewhat nailed down spec before they do that. And I feel like we've been talking about this spec for about 4 weeks now, if not a little longer than that.
I feel like we're getting down to very, very. We're getting to very subtle issues right now.
Okay. So maybe one more round and then we approve it next week, basically?
I think so. I think this is like very close to done, or at least very close.
Super cool if this issue were marked RTBC by next week's meeting, because on Thursday of next week we have another one of those idea queue review things. And if this was a finalized prototype, and then whoever could lead the core committers through a similar walkthrough that Gabor just did on that call, I feel like we could officially approve this, and then I could get developers going on it as early as like Friday the 18th. But that assumes that we can get this buttoned up and kind of through the approval process sooner than later.
Right. It would be nice to have some testing on at least this prototype.
That would also be good, yeah. Although what I see here looks to me like every other application, so I don't know. Like we didn't do a lot of user testing on WYSIWYG because we basically just like, this is how WYSIWYG works, ta-da. I don't know if this qualifies as that or not. But yeah, I agree. If it's possible, it would be great to have a couple of real life users take a look at this. Yeah,
I think the place, you're absolutely right, Angie. There's really tried and true paradigms here for usability. I think the places where I'd like to see some testing is the places where it's not tried and true, and those are the places where Drupal is doing something different. Particularly, the one place that really needs to be tested is the adding of the metadata where we have this parent-child relationship between the canonical version and the not and the local version. That's not like that definitely needs to have some sanity check on like some end users who have not seen that before.
Is anyone able to do that on this call? I don't know, Kevin, could you go down to Amazon Labs or?
I can. I'm going to be there on Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, I can show it to a few people, put it up in front of a few people and see what they say.
That would be great, just because if we're going to do one more round of UX, or one more round of design tweaking, it'd be awesome if we had that user feedback in the process too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll do that.
Awesome. But yeah, that's great. It sounds like we're getting really close. Like everything I see here is pretty much, yep, I've seen that in WordPress, or yep, I've seen that in Facebook, or like that kind of thing. So I feel like we're getting really close to where we can start actually doing it. So that would be great.
Cool.
Yeah, and Gabor, the thing you outlined last in the tabs as filters, that they were non-standard. They make total sense in this context to me, so let's not worry about that too much. It's not like we have all interface patterns already, and we should just apply them. So if this is new or different, that's okay.
Yeah, we don't have actually, and in fact, we don't have a pattern. We don't have a pattern for sort filter a grid, right? So
yeah,
I mean, we have a pattern for sort filter a table,
a list. Yeah.
but a table has column structure, and it makes sense that the table heads sit on top of the things that you're sorting filtering on. I don't know. I put a comment that I was unsure. I think it's okay the way it is, but I think that we'll see in testing how it works.
I think we are too Drupalized, and we all see it as a correct thing. But when you said, Gabor, you said about that they could be filters. I mean, we are assuming that they are tabs, but if they were filters, they would be smaller. They could be on the right, and they wouldn't need so many space. I don't know if that's correct, but maybe we are assuming that it should be tabs because it's like it is right now. So I don't know, maybe for a user it has sense that he has all the media and then he wants to filter for an image or for a video. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the previous version had this. So I think it recently got changed to tabs, probably because in a pop-up there's even less space. So it doesn't make that much sense to use the whole sidebar to just for filtering.
Tabs are for navigation, not for filtering. Don't know it. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, I agree, Christina. It's true. I do think it could possibly be a problem. I think that it is true that what Roy said, that this is a new pattern. We don't have it yet. We don't have sort filter of a grid, and we can't think that we've thought of everything, and just reuse a pattern that we already have. Maybe they need to be pills. I feel like the thing that they're missing for me is that they're missing the up-down affordance of how I'm sorting them. I mean, the ones that are in the select right now.
Yeah. Okay. So, details, as in we can figure that out.
Yeah, I think that's just something that needs to be that's not exactly nailed down in this design yet. Needs a little bit more consideration.
Yeah, for anyone else reviewing this, all these screens that Kevin did not find are hidden behind the sitemap icon, and I only found them because I've specifically been told to click the sitemap icon. So yes, they are hidden. Yes. So for other reviewers, it's an easy way to access all the screens through here.
Yeah, I think our main feedback for now is that to bypass the library modal when creating new. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does the prototype need to be elaborated to do a useful usability test?
I don't think so. I think it's clickable enough that that you can sort of, as long as you preface it with enough explanation.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it could work.
All right. So next steps is try to get it tested a bit and work through some of the detailed feedback.
Does the image field widget has something to do with the whole initiative? I mean, because we are adding here 2 buttons and adding some feedback here, maybe just make it bigger. But I have some comments here, and I don't know if it's for this initiative, but what you were saying before, that we are adding so many steps. Here for adding a new image, you can drag and drop it here, usually, but it's not evident that you can do it. I don't know. Maybe it should be redesigned how it is showed in. I mean, in the media library, you have a dashed border, and yes, exactly like that. And that feature, I think you also have it on the default widget, but it's not showed on the widget itself. I don't know if it's something it's in that issue also, or maybe we should.
There is already an issue for an updated. I'm not sure, is it file field or image field?
The 7 style guide has this. If you scroll down, and I added this 7 style guide stuff to Drupal 8 documentation pages, which it never had been there before, and updated it. But this design was created, already. Yeah, you're looking at it, that one.
Okay.
There's an issue for it as well.
Okay, then.
Well, that doesn't mean it's fixed, but
some thought has gone into it already, and actually, Christina, you're thinking in exactly the right direction with the dotted line and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, because the current UI has basically a browse button, and it doesn't allow you to drag and drop, which last week's meeting Roy learned from me, so that was nice.
Yeah, I also learned.
He did not expect that to work. So this one is more obvious. Then you can drag something there with the dotted dash borders, I guess. And there was also already designs for browsing the library and adding a file as separate buttons a few years ago when the style guide was made. So yeah. So I think this is in some ways very similar, except the lack of the dotted the dashed lines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it also has another thing that I was going to say, that I don't know why we have that table, that empty table after the adding button on the prototype.
I think it's multiple files were added, maybe, no?
Yeah, but the preview file name and that stuff, we still don't need it. So that's why it's already here, if we don't need it yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, meaning don't print an empty table, just print nothing, and then once there's something to show.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. That's probably borrowing from existing. Like if you go to the admin content page and there's no content, you get a table similar to this where it just says no content. So it's probably just borrowing from existing core patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how that works now. It's probably not how it works now, but
I posted the issue for the file field design in the Hangout.
Thank you. I'm going to add that to the documentation page right now so that people can see that.
That's 2113931. Yeah.
That's a good way just to simplify the scope of the media.
Yeah, it needs work.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It's a
issue summary update. Yeah, I tried it in August. It was good.
Yeah.
I posted
So that
a
might
video on
be
how it worked. So let's look at my video. Where did that go? So video recording of a video. So that's what I tried in August, and that's how it looked. And you dropped in, and then it appeared, and it sort of worked. Yeah, the paddings were not very nice, but it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's just around the current status, like this. So it's not that bad. We can get this forward, then we can integrate with media, I think.
Should we throw a sprint tag on that and see if anybody?
Yeah. Yep.
Do that right now.
All right, Roy, I just linked that issue to the 7 guide, so that people know that.
Oh, there's a path towards happy ending even. So.
Cool.
All right.
Great.
Let's hop on the next topic then.
Yep.
What is
the next topic? Is mine, I think. Or Kevin, did you have one?
There's a couple of things that I could bring up, but go ahead with what you have.
All right, let me just finish making my comment. Okay. And what version is that against? 8.3, good. Save. Okay. So my thing, I'm gonna need to share a screen. Which one? This one. So we have this ideas queue thing, and we've been using that. We've had a couple of these weekly meetings or bi-weekly meetings, I'm sorry now, where what we effectively do is we take a look at any, and by we, I mean the core committers and some of the usability folks that are actually on this call. We look at these ideas, and any of them that are marked as RTBC, we review. And that's been going okay. Like, we managed to get the PHP unit initiative off the ground. We managed to basically approve the media initiative. We need a couple of follow-up tasks on that. There was one other one. I don't remember what it was. But at any rate, we're making some progress and headway on this. But as you can see, there are like 2 pages worth of ideas, and you need to somehow be able to get through those kind of quickly. And so what Dries and I worked on coming out of our Drupal core kind of hard discussion was this spreadsheet of doom. And this is a process that comes out of something called Six Sigma, I think. We used it with the Drupal.org software working group as a means of prioritizing a bunch of ideas that all sounded good, but we didn't know which ones were better than the others. And how it works is you have a bunch of criteria up along the top here that you want to prioritize things on. So for example, improves Drupal's first impression with new users, or improves Drupal's authoring experience, or improves core contributor experience and velocity, this kind of thing. We give those columns a weight. So all of these right now are weighted either 3 or 5. And then you can only vote one of these values. You can vote 9, which means it super improves Drupal's first impression with new users, or it super improves performance and scalability. A 3, which is like, yeah, it improves a little bit. A 1, which is like, meh, negligible. A 0, which is not applicable. Or a -1, which is like, it's actually going to hurt things more than it helps. And then through the magic of spreadsheets, it comes up with a total. And then what you can do at the end of this is you can sort of like, you know, sort this spreadsheet in priority order, and then you have an idea of like what things that we should prioritize for different releases. And you also have an idea of like where contributors should focus their energies and this kind of thing. And also by making the criteria transparent to people, it also helps people sort of self-run through this and see. So they're not surprised, basically. So if something that they worked really hard on doesn't get approved, it's like, well, it didn't do any of these things, and it only did one of these other things, and so it's just not going to make it in the list as a priority initiative. You know? So that's the idea. And we went through this exercise with a couple of things. So we went through this exercise with, add layouts to Drupal, which is a top-down initiative, and you can see that it scores very highly in improving the authoring experience and the site building experience. Those 2 columns are also 5s because they came out of the survey as the most important target audiences, so that gives them a big boost. But they also improve Drupal's first impression with new users. They improve the module developer experience a little bit. We thought, we could argue about some of these numbers. Has a lot of alignment with initiatives, and there's not a lot of disruption and time to implement with the existing team because there's a pretty big team that has it. We also added this L column for core committer trump factor, and I greatly look forward to the day when that word can go back to just being a word and not cause panic attacks in people. But anyway, so this is like if something isn't giving us enough of a thing that we think it's more important than that. So PHP unit would be a good example where it's not going to improve any of these end user experiences. Ooh, excuse me, but it is really important to core contributor velocity. We can also give it a boost in that column.
The Joker.
Yeah, exactly. It's the Joker. The wild card, maybe is a better word without the connotation. So, and then we went through this exercise. Sorry?
I kind of feel like that points to a flaw in the categories.
It might, yeah, it might be that we don't need this column. I would love to have like half of these columns, but at the moment, it's like this level of granularity seems to be, what we need. We can always dial it back, we tried this with one top-down initiative. We also tried it with a bottom-up initiative. So like creating a new user-facing core theme. You can see that this has with users, big chunk in that. Doesn't really help the authoring or site building experience that much though, like only in the default installation, and probably, especially if it's very coupled to the default content, it's, going to be replaced within the first hour that somebody uses the site. Improves the steamer experience a little bit. It is good in terms of size of disruption BC break. This is a weird column because we have to invert the thing. So I have to do that a little bit, but anyway, so that one scores pretty high. And then we also scored one, which is roll back the kernel and most of routing, which as you can see does not improve anybody's default experience. It may moderately improve the developer experience. It may moderately improve performance and scalability. It will detriment core contributor experience and velocity because we'll have to rewrite all the things that we already wrote. It is pretty costly to exist with the existing team. It has a very negative BC break, and we don't want to do it. So therefore, that ends up with a 10 as a score. So it's just sort of like a mathematical way to sift through this big list of issues and figure out what's important and what's not. And so that was sort of the rubric we're thinking of employing. We'll probably schedule a separate call for that because we're never going to get through anything meaningful on a 30-minute call. So probably like a 90-minute thing where we go through and sort of argue over what these numbers are. And they go from there. So any feedback on that general idea?
Yeah. I am slightly worried about what you call the things that are in column A. Sometimes you call them initiatives, and there's also a bit based on the feedback I got last week from the new theme idea, is that we're pushing features through this process, right? We're not looking for.
Well, we're pushing ideas through this process, yeah.
Yeah, okay, ideas for features, and maybe some of them are initiatives, but mostly ideas for features, right? Okay, yeah, I just want to be sure that we're discussing mostly ideas on the feature level, and that's.
Well, I'm literally discussing what's in the ideas queue. Like this is just a copy and paste of here, and it is a bit of a mixed bag because you see like these three issues are all about initiatives, like big overarching things. This one's about a particular feature.
Exactly.
This is about a design decision, right? It's like so it's a mixed bag. So that's why I'm mixing up my words because some of these are like overall the help system. That's not a feature. We already have the feature help. It is a revamp to an existing system. Fieldable fields in core. That's a feature. That's fine. This is just refactoring. You know what I mean? It's like so.
Yeah. So okay. I guess the question is: are we fine with the apples and oranges here? And
yeah, that's it's not great.
No,
because
no, exactly for when we're going to score it, because then
because then we're comparing apples and oranges. But I think that's might be okay because it means if your idea doesn't rank highly enough in the lists, it's not necessarily a no, although hopefully we'll get no's as we do it. It just means this isn't a priority for anyone.
Yeah.
So it means if you want to do, where did that symphony thing go? This. If you want to do this and you don't get a hard no, you can do it, but you're not going to get, it's not going to be spun out as an initiative. You're not going to get like special core committer eyeballs on that thing, that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
I kind of feel like maybe one of the ways that we could reduce the apples and oranges problem a little bit, perhaps, is by using the meta, the meta category on these, or the meta tag, for things that are initiatives. Like nothing that's an initiative, I think should be kind of on this list.
Well, I don't agree with that.
It's like an issue of issues, because it's like if a thing on this list, right, is blocks and layouts, right, that just doesn't make any sense. It's not, and it's not alone does it not make sense. It's not possible to categorize it because it covers too many different things, right? What does that mean? Does it mean, so layout, having, changeable, configurable layouts in core is something that's much more concrete, and that.
Let's go here. Okay. So this was an idea that we approved on the last meeting, and it says this is the roadmap, which is what we want to do. We want to actually the issue here is really bad, but anyway, what we actually reviewed was this.
Yeah, we moved out the plan that got approved.
Yeah, all that we did. Oh, right. Okay, so now it's in a new plan. So what we actually reviewed was that we want. This is still not ideal, but anyway, I'm going to go back to what I was doing. Alex's comment is what we reviewed on the last call. So, not that. Sorry, this one.
Yeah, see, that's exactly what I mean. That's what I mean right there. You've got in the list. You've got two issues. One is prototype for media library.
Yep.
One is this one that we're looking at now, and this seems to me it's a meta. It's like it has too many things to be able to make a decision based on your other rubric, right? Because it's just
okay. So don't run initiatives through the rubric, but still keep them in the ideas queue as a separate.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, I could see that. Yeah, it was helpful to have this because we were able to look at this list and we were able to say we want to add a media type to core. We want to make sure that image fields are media fields. We want to create a media library. We want to make sure that that is something that can be inserted into an existing post, and we want to make sure it's existing into a CK editor. And that particular set of 5 things was enough of a meaty chunk to take up 20 minutes on the call.
Yeah.
And I think that it is useful to have that group of people reviewing issues like this. Because otherwise you have no idea if you can actually move forward on something like this. So getting a firm, yes, we like this, it's great, here's a couple of things, small things you need to do, and then we're ready to go. That's actually super, super helpful. But I get your point that in terms of like this, maybe not as helpful.
I'm almost thinking that the stuff along the top is like initiatives. First impression initiative. Yeah. Developer experience initiative. It's not really, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a useful piece of feedback, actually.
Yeah. The other thing is that I think as far as I can sort of see in core, there isn't any initiative that we really haven't decided that we're going to do nothing about it, right? All of the initiatives, there's something there. There are sub issues to them that we're going to work on, right?
Well, I would say that shit, that not that either. The hell is that page? Strategic initiative page. Yeah. I would say that workflow is definitely a go. Blocks and layouts is definitely a go. API first is definitely a go. Theme component library is not a go. Media is definitely a go. So I need to update this page, obviously. Data modeling, cross-channel, there's nothing. So I would say it's a mixed bag, actually. And before we formally move these things from proposed, which is what cross-channel and data modeling are right now, to planned, which is what blocks and layouts, media are, and actually those could probably move into active at the moment, and same with API first.
Yeah.
But there's 3 different stages of initiatives, basically, and so we need something, and right now that's the ideas queue and these calls to look at the plans that are being proposed by these teams and make recommendations that they're not wasting their time if they go ahead with what they thought. Because the problem with blocks and layout, to your point, is that's a couple of nouns and a conjunction. It's we need to know what's underneath that, right? And whatever's underneath that needs sign off from somebody, whether it's you know, usually the core committers, usually some combination of product, framework, and release managers.
Yeah. And a lot of these other things, even if they're not a go right now, for example, theme component library, you know, they can be broken up into smaller ideas in the ideas queue, and just because, you know, we may, I mean, putting it in a big bucket is, you know, it's doing itself a disservice, or it could be detrimental, because there may be, you know, smaller ideas within, like Lowry, for example, has taken all of the theme component library stuff and chunked it up into a really nice roadmap of things we can do iteratively to improve our theming. You know, and
yeah, and I think that might help too. Like, let's say instead of 1 row for workflow initiative here, we had 5 rows, or I don't know the number, but it was like content moderation, workspaces, trash module, etc.
Yep.
We would be able to say trash module doesn't really help anybody, or maybe it does or doesn't, you know, that kind of thing. Versus workspaces is something that helps everybody, so we should prioritize work on that first over the other thing.
Yep.
Yep, that makes sense.
So can I have a question, Angie? How do you when you go through this, do you do the sizing kind of thing like you do in Scrum, where nobody tells, where everyone simultaneously says what their number is?
How we've done it to date is a consensus-based approach. So whoever's on the call, someone proposes that's a 3 or whatever, and we keep moving on unless someone's like, wait a minute, no, that's not a 3 because that's actually a this, you know. Yeah. We could also have separate spreadsheets for every participant and try and like reconcile them. With this many columns, I think it works better if it's just like someone's opinionated and does some stuff. And then if there are any objections, they're raised. There's
a way to do that. There's a way to format your cell so that people can enter and then show all the things.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've done that before, but it's extra overhead. When most of the time it's going to be pretty clear. Or if we're dickering on anything, it'll be like, is this a 3 or is it a 1? You know what I mean? And it's not going to make that big of a difference. Most of the 9s are going to be obviously 9s, and those are going to have the biggest impact on the score. But yeah, I mean, if you have a template, super handy, that would be great. I've tried to do that before, and like the problem is you've got like whatever this is, 10 different criteria, then you've got at least 7 or 8 people on the call. You know what I mean? It just becomes like a nightmare of matrices at a certain point. But who knows? Maybe I'm.
Or you could have everybody turn on their video and then hold up their hands with the number all at once.
Yeah, you could do that. I guess I don't feel like this is so susceptible to gaming, like, because it's not like these numbers really mean anything at the end of the day. They're just a way for us as product managers and as core committers and as usability people and volunteer managers and stuff like that to
express a gut feel in numbers.
Well, to express, but moreover, it's to get a feel for like,
and then comparing.
You want to scale a relative importance, right? So it's not like anything's going to happen if like, this gets a 10, other than we're probably going to say no, but it's not like putting a 1 here instead of a 0 would have made a big difference in that no. You know what I mean?
You know what I think actually would probably help the possible gaming, because people are going to do this. People are going to see, and when they're going to do it, it's when you've got the whole thing filled out and then they go down to the end column, right?
Sure.
And they see the end column and they see what's floating to the top. And
well, that's why we have column L, so we can game it.
Exactly. That's the problem. That's not
the
problem.
Solution. That's perfect, because we also don't want to just blindly accept numbers that were arbitrarily put on things, right? We want some amount of like common sense factor. So that's what this is for.
Also, we are rapidly running out of time. So if we want to talk about something else, then we should move on.
I don't have anything else, actually. I mean, there are many other things that I could talk about, but I don't have anything that's pressing.
Yeah.
Roy has.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Roy does? I'm sorry. I thought these were the only 2 things. Sorry about that, Roy.
No, I was just noticing that not too much seems to be moving at the moment. So, what would we like to see moving, and how could we help things get moving?
I think I'd still like to see some of the initiatives we started back in the summer, like the admin status page redesign and stuff like that, taken care of. The problem is we're now into that time of year where it's like November, December is where volunteers typically go and like spend time with their families and shit like that, or go vote for a president or whatever. So it makes it difficult to like we don't have a bad camp coming up that we can rally a bunch of people to do stuff at for the rest of the year, I think, unless there is another one of those. So one idea would be we could do a virtual sprint, maybe like a virtual UX sprint. We could try and hold one of those where we pick, 2 or 3 of the things off our sprint list and try and get folks to work on those. That might be cool.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
We just have to find a date that works for people broadly, and that can get a little bit challenging. Our traditional global sprint day is in January, like January 21st or something like that, because it's after the holidays and stuff like that. But that's a long time from now.
Mm-hmm.
I know you won't get anyone the week of U.S. Thanksgiving, which is coming up in a couple of weeks, I think. But yeah, potentially we could. I'm also on vacation selfishly from the 19th to the 27th, so I don't want to really do anything there. But you guys can certainly do things there. That's most of the U.S. Thanksgiving anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, if we wanted to try and, propose December 1st or something as International Drupal Usability Day, or pick a Friday, December 2nd. And get folks to, to plan something around that. That might be kind of cool, actually. We could see if we get, if we promote that, that could be one way of, if we have a day that all of us are available.
If we can schedule a chain of availability across the time zones for.
Yeah, exactly.
So
the European crew kicks it off, and then the BC crew ends it, something like that.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
While we're on the phone and we are over time, but is there any date in particular? I like Fridays because usually those are kind of chill days at various companies. We'll just have like a day that's like UX virtual sprint day.
I like it. Friday's good for me.
Yeah, Fridays.
Friday's okay.
Usually good.
Do you want to do Friday the 2nd or?
Let's do it.
Because that's a couple weeks out. It gives people some.
3 weeks.
Friday the 2nd is also when the SkyTrain goes in here, so I could potentially haul a bunch of Drupal people up to my place, and we could have a sprint here in the very late evening Vancouver time.
Cool.
Okay. I'll write it down. Cool. Well, let's coordinate on Slack then what that means. But you've heard it here first,
exactly.
Folks.
Yes, you heard it here first.
Virtual UX Sprint. December 2nd, happening on the Slack, UX Slack, Drupal Slack. We'll have to put a post together that tells people how to join and stuff. But, and then, yeah, maybe we can cherry pick, like this the image field one we talked about just earlier. That seems like a great one. I think, or file field design update it's called. I think the admin status page is so fucking close. It would be great if we just bang that out. And then I'm sure we could probably find a couple more that are lying in wait.
Yeah, then we can have a commit fest at the end.
Yeah. Actually, that would work well because then, like, I get online later than everyone, basically. Yeah, I think that would be awesome.
Nice.
Okay. Sweet.
Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Right. Yep. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.